Hi, it's David, and this is episode number 6 of the Bald Entrepreneur Show, in which I interview another Baldy who is nice enough to point that out as soon as we start the interview. That was a nice wee surprise slap in the face from an honoured guest on my show. But that's fair enough. He's a perfectly nice guy usually, so we'll allow him that wee one slip. But anyway, today Andy's going to talk about why he considers himself to be the beginner's friend, why he is particularly suited to be the beginner's friend, and how he helps beginners. So if you're in that boat, if you're a beginner yourself, then you're going to love this interview with Andy. And even if you're not, you're certainly going to pick up a few things. So sit back, grab a coffee, and enjoy the interview. Hi everybody, and today I'm talking to Andy Waring, and welcome to the show, Andy.
Hi, nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too. We've been trying to get together for a wee while, so it's nice to finally get it.
Absolutely.
So let's start off with an introduction from yourself. I mean, there's a chance that people watching the interview don't know you too well. You're also known as the beginner's friend. So just a wee bit about what you did before the internet came along, how you got to where you are just now, what you're currently doing, and of course why the beginner's friend. That's an interesting name you've picked for yourself, and that's an interesting brand. So over to you.
Okay, well, first I have to say, David, it's nice to speak to someone with the same haircut. You know, it's always nice to get that, that bond straight away.
It was chosen for me.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think the beginner's friend all comes about because when I started in internet marketing, I really did struggle for a long time, and I was really, everyone I looked at seemed to know so much, and I knew so little, and I thought, wouldn't it be great if one of these people could just, help me? Mm. I felt so stupid. Maybe I was, but I thought at the time, well, if I feel like this, I know if I ever become more proficient in what I'm doing, I would love to be able to help other people that are like me now. And obviously that has stayed with me, and hence the beginner's friend. I think that it also reflects my background. I come from a training background, or learning and development background, if you like. I worked my way up as an employed trainer, training consultant, training manager, through to a head of learning development. But I've always been interested in helping people achieve their potential. So much so, I mean, even in my private life, I manage a football team. At the moment, it's an under-8s football team. I used to manage my son's football team until they got to under-18s, and they all went off and found women and drink and universities and whatever. So now I've started again with under-8s, and in fact my little ankle biters played last night in their first friendly, pre-season friendly, and won 3-2. So we're quite happy about that. But yeah, going back to what we were saying, I think it's just something about me. I do like seeing people develop. I get some sort of buzz out of achieving that.
Yeah.
So I think the two things, this idea of when I first started wanting that help, wanting someone who I could trust, that I could talk to, that I could ask questions of, could get information from, and this sort of background of coming from a training sort of situation, the two seem to just mesh quite nicely. And the beginner's friend sort of brand, if you like, almost came out of the ether as the natural thing to do. And so that's where it came from, and that's what I'm doing, hopefully.
Yeah, I understand completely. I used to be a driving instructor in my former life, both for learners. I taught learners, and then I taught instructors how to be instructors, and the last 7 years of it I taught police officers how to do blue light training. It was the emergency response calls. It was quite a whirlwind, and yeah, seeing people develop is fantastic, especially when they pass that all important test. So how did you actually get into online marketing and that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, it was about. I know we've mentioned earlier. It was about 2007 that I sort of started dabbling. I don't. I can't even remember now how I even heard about it, or. But I started dabbling. Started getting a few books off Amazon, searching around on Google, and there was this concept of being able to make an income online. But it was sort of all very. There was so much information. You know, people tell you there is so much free information out there, and they're absolutely true. There is, in fact, there's just too much free information. The trouble is, and for me at least, I found that I didn't know. I couldn't tell what was good information and what was bad information. And we all know, whether it be internet marketing or anything, that if you go onto the internet, there is so much good stuff, but there is so much. I was going to swear then, I won't. I'm a guest, so I won't swear, but there's so much rubbish. Yeah, there's so much rubbish out there. So it's finding that stuff that is really useful.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was only when I really found a mentor that I looked up to, got involved in their training back in the day, that it really started getting me on track. Although having said that, it still took me a long time from actually knowing to doing. I'm ashamed to say, being a trainer took me quite a few years.
Oh, me too. Started in 2008, didn't really do anything until, I don't know, a couple of years later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you get any... there's so many ways to phrase this question, right? You started in 2007, I was in about 2008.
Mm-hmm.
If you could go back there now and speak to yourself and say, look, do this, and you'll be fine. So I'll be fine when I get back to my own time. What would that be?
Oh, without doubt, David, without doubt, it would be build a list. And I'm sure your viewers, your listeners, they'll, oh no, not again, not the old list thing. And and to be honest, that's where I was in 2007, 2008, whatever. I'd heard it so many times, it just sort of washed over. I heard it without understanding it. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't, and it was years later when I fully understood the concept of building a list. I mean, for example, I know sometimes people get hung up about building a list for the sake of building a list. Or I've got 30,000 people on my list. Doesn't matter. If that 30,000 aren't actually interested in what you're saying, or you're not communicating to that 30,000, you might as well not have a list at all. The list is a means to an end. Mm-hmm. A list is just, it's like having a big gang of people who've got a similar sort of interest, that you can build a relationship, market to, offer products, services that will help them, that will interest them, etc., that you know will have an interest about that. Mm-hmm. For example, I like football, and my local team, the team I support, I go along, and in that stadium, when I'm there watching a game, I know that everyone in that stadium has an interest in that football, in one of those football teams playing. Mm-hmm. And it's the same with a list. You know, if you do it properly, you know you've got a list who have got a very definite interest in a certain area, in a certain subject, in a certain niche, and therefore it's relatively simple to then market to them, to communicate to them about that particular subject. So yeah, going back to your original question, David, my now me would be telling the old me, build a list and build it now.
You say if you do it properly, so you mean there's a way to not do it properly?
Well, Well,
Let's rephrase that. What mistakes are people making in list building that you can see in your?
well, I think the main one is this idea of the concept of getting people who've got an interest. It's no good getting people of all sorts of interests onto your list. That's then just a database of people and addresses. It's the fact that they are interested in a particular subject or niche that makes the list important, because then you're able to communicate to them about that specific interest, whether that be dog training, which is always a common example that people use. And the more specific, the more narrow the niche, the easier it is to actually communicate and to market to. The wider the niche, the more difficult it is.
Yeah.
You know, say if you've got 100,000 people on your list, but there's no one defining reason for them being on the list, you might as well just have 500, 1,000 who are have a very focused interest on, I don't know, Star Wars or making money online, blogging, whatever. So it is very much, I think, again, to answer your question, the mistake people make is to just get people on a list without thinking about what is their interest. Why are they coming on my list? How can I best communicate to them, build a relationship with them after they're on my list?
That's a very good answer. It's something I've asked a few people, you know, what mistakes do you see people making, and yeah, that seems to be it. Just kind of, if they can go around conferences and say, I've got 30,000 lists. So, oh, great.
Yeah.
How much money are you making? Not much, because my AWeber bill's $200 a month for that 30,000. It's
Absolutely.
So you're not making anything.
And if I can just add, David, I mean, sorry, you just broke up for a moment there, but I was just going to add to that the other mistake that people make is, even if they've built this list of like-minded individuals, is then they don't actually communicate with them. They don't actually send them emails with offers that may interest them. So it's key for any marketer. You know, one, you want to be building relationship. You want to be relatable. But secondly, you also, as a marketer, are trying to make an income, and therefore you need to be offering those individuals products, services that will help them, that will interest them, that will entertain them. You know, but actually getting that communication. It's no good getting people on a list and then just filing that away thinking, aren't I clever? I've got a big list.
If you don't use it. So let's talk about actually getting the list. What's the kind of the method that you would suggest to actually build a list of like-minded people?
Okay, well, there are many ways of doing it out there. The way I personally like is one that goes back years and years, way before internet marketing, and that is the giving somebody a free gift of high perceived value, and that's really important. That high perceived value. It's no good just chucking out any old crap. You know, this is about giving them, offering people something that will be of benefit to them in return, not for cash, but for their details, for their email address. And the way that you would do that in the modern way on the internet, I say modern, it's old hat now, but is actually having a squeeze page. I'm sure many people have heard the expression squeeze page, which is primarily just a page offering whatever it is you're giving away in return for that address. As simple as that. And then that address being stored on some sort of autoresponder as a list, ready there to be sent your communications. And it can be as simple, or is at its very base, as simple as that. You People try to complicate it and bring in all sorts of bells and whistles, and that they may help, but at its core, it's just about offering something that people are going to benefit from in return for their details. Simple as that.
You say offer something of high perceived value. What do you mean perceived value? Is that different to value?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, it's how you put value onto something. I mean, I could create now a 3 or 4 page PDF that gives away a lot of information on its own. If you printed that out, four pages of writing, is there any value in that? It's only when you actually get into the concepts, the information within that perceived value, the actual value to the end user comes into its own.
So you've got to tell the person reading your page what the value is so that they perceive the value, rather than just saying, I have a report which is pretty cool, click here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what, if you read this is what you can achieve. This is what it helped me to do. This is what it can do for you or your business. So you have to push people in the right direction to let them know, what this is going to do, the benefits to that individual.
Oh, that's good. And what about actually getting people on? I mean, people I've talked to in the past have said that they always use solo ads. That's the best way to do it. Do you like solos, or do you have other ways of getting traffic to your list?
Yeah, solo ads I think are a fantastic method. They have to be done right. I also think with solo ads that a lot of people mention nowadays that solo ads are dead. Solo ads don't bring in the cash, etc., etc. I would argue that fact. I would possibly agree that they are not as readily bringing in the instant cash than perhaps they were, but I think done in the right way, solo ads still work. In as much as thinking about your sales funnel with your free front end as being a long-term process. So it may not be right up front that you actually earn anything from these individuals, but if you have got your follow-ups, your emails, your communication set up correctly, then the value of these individuals will come further down the line. So I think it's important when you're using solos to realize that perhaps it's a medium to long-term investment. You may have paid your $30, $40 on 100 clicks, and you might not see any or very little return initially. But hopefully, if you've set up your funnel correctly, the income comes in at a later stage down the line.
That's interesting. We've mentioned it before in previous episodes that solo traffic are probably getting hammered. If you're on somebody's solo list, you're probably on somebody else's solo list and other people, because these emails, to my mind, they must be getting passed around from solo seller to solo seller to solo seller, and they're getting so many, and they seem to just be people that click, opt in, click, opt in, click, opt in. That must be what they do. How on earth do you stand out and say to these people, right, whoa, stop the insanity, time to concentrate, pick somebody, pick me?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely, and you're absolutely right, David. That is the key to this, of not just becoming another person who they've chosen your freebie because they want the freebie, and that's it. And it's down to that. Mention the word relationship, rapport. Is the emails that I send individuals, I want them to know that there's a real person behind those emails. The beginner's friend, Andy Waring, is a real person with a real family. With I'm not. I don't have a flashy house with a flashy car. I'm not one of those gurus. I'm a real person, down to earth. I've got the same sort of issues they have. same sort of, probably the same sort of desires that they have. I'll introduce them to my blog where that they can read a little bit about me, about my story. I know, David, you've read some of the things I've put on there. When my daughter picked up her exam results recently, and how that had an effect on the way I see my business.
Yeah.
I like to try and introduce the real me to these individuals. So all of a sudden, I'm not just a name behind an email that's giving them another thing to buy or another free gift to sign up for. Actually, here's someone who's a real person creating a real business who wants to help other people build a real business.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that answers your question. It's about showing them a bit of me.
Yeah.
A bit of me into my communications, into my mails, into my dealings with these people. They're not just, going back to that list, they're not just a name on the list. They're a real person.
Yeah.
And so am I. So
it's something I've definitely thought about as far as solos, because I've wanted to get, I've purchased a good few solos, and I've tried to say to the people on it, and another point, I've had people saying, just go for the churn and burn technique, whereby you get somebody on your list and you chuck offers at them, offer, and keep doing that until they either buy or get off your list or they unsubscribe or something. I hate that. It just isn't me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a valid technique. People use it successfully.
Yeah.
I personally, and it is only a personal opinion, but like yours, is that I don't like it, because in the short term, I don't think it does. No one's getting any, apart from the marketer. No one's getting any benefit out of it. Anyone on the list is not getting benefit out of it. And secondly, in the longer term, I think for the business as a whole, internet marketing as a whole, it's turning a lot of people off. Because all of a sudden you get people thinking, oh, hang on, everyone, and you hear it all the time, everyone involved in internet marketing are scam artists. They're just after a fast buck. So yeah, I'm totally with you, David. It's not the way I would go. Fair play to other people if they want to go down that route. I'm not judging them. Who am I to judge? But it's not the way I want to go.
Yeah, they do make it. The thing that rings alarm bells for me is if somebody's teaching you a technique like the one I just spoke about, if when they're teaching you that technique they include ways to make sure that, or ways to try and prevent your autoresponder account being shut down. Use a different name when you're mailing sometimes. Try and do that. Have a couple of accounts, because you might get banned. I think, see if you've got provisions for in case you get shut down, there's something far wrong with that, in my opinion. Why do you have these provisions? Why not just do it properly, and then you don't get shut down. They've got nothing to complain about.
I agree totally. But there again, variety is the spice of life. If we all thought the same way, it would be a boring life. But I have to say, on this one, I'm with you 100%, David.
But it's those people that we need to buy our traffic from, so I suppose we need them. And we can get the people and say, look, here's what we're doing. But okay, so going back to your terrific content, you talked about if you have your funnel set up in place, and what you're meaning, of course, is offer. Sorry?
Oh, sorry, David. I just realised, going back, I didn't answer your initial question about traffic fully, because I mentioned about solo ads, which absolutely is one way I use. I did want to mention as well, as a sort of supplementary, which I think is a really good way, is using the Warrior Forum. And absolutely. Two different ways. I mean, there is what we would call the WSO. I mean, nowadays, I'm sure people know you can't offer free WSOs, but you can still offer free offers in their classified section. And I think going back to, with solo ads, it can be very easy to get people who are very burned, about the whole. They're on hundreds of lists, and they become very upset about that. With Warrior Forum, I think people coming on and seeing your offers and signing in there are slightly more or less jaded, I should say, and I find that they can be more. They're warmer to your offers right from the off. You don't have to work so hard at building that relationship. So
And the
I think it's
Forum is
worth
still a
just
place that people will go to, isn't it? So why not take advantage of that and welcome them?
absolutely.
If everybody
Absolutely.
else has
So yeah, I
decided
just
to.
wanted to add that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I was talking about you mentioned funnel. So you're talking about you've given them an item of incredible value, something that they would be happy to pay for. You've given them for free, just in exchange for their email address. So after you've done that, do you go straight into an offer after that? I mean, how do you structure your funnel after you've
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the
introduced?
classic. People talk about the OTO. I'm sure
OTO, yeah.
your viewers have come across that, or one-time offer. And the concept of that has been around for a long time and still works beautifully well. It's something I use. I know some people try and hide the fact. They're almost ashamed that they've got this offer that people are going to have to pay for. It's my opinion that as long as you're open and upfront, and that offer is very much related to the reason that they came on to, that they signed into or signed up for whatever you're offering, I think it's got a valid place. So, I mean, for example, I've got a free offer on Warrior Forum at the
I'm
moment.
embarrassed, you can tell me.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I think that is, we were talking about high value or high perceived value. I think that is really high value. It's what we've been talking about today. It's a 12-part drip feed membership site, a mentoring site, which I was thinking about setting it up and people paying me to get into, but I thought, no. I thought back to, hang on, I'm the beginner's friend. Let's think about what you would have liked when you were starting. I thought, well, this is something. If I still wasn't sure, this is something I'd love to have, and if I could offer it for nothing, then there's no risk. They can get in there, they can have a look at it, really get into the nitty gritty. I say 12 lessons long. I do it with your classic lesson and then homework. Yeah, it's not I'm not offering one of those silver bullets or whatever they're called. There's work involved here.
Yeah.
I'm providing the information, but it's very much down to to that end user. If they want the success, they're going to have to put some effort in. I don't disguise that fact, but that's the offer. People can just sign up for that. But when I'm explaining what it's about, I also explain that there are offers that they will receive after they've signed up, which are paid for offers. I make no bones about it. They are not required for them to go through the training. The training will still be beneficial without that. However, the offers, I think, very much shortcut the mechanism, the strategy that is taught within the mentoring. They are done for you options. Again, as a beginner's friend, one of the things I would have liked when I started was someone basically saying, "Okay, Andy, here's everything you need. Here's what you need. You just set this up now, and it'll do what you need." So that's what I've done. I've provided, firstly, a done-for-you sales funnel, including the free front end with high perceived value. I've given them squeeze pages. I've given them download pages. I've given them OTOs, one-time offers. I've given them redirect pages so that as soon as their subscriber subscribes, they go to this offer. So hopefully they can start making an income straight away. So that's offered for them. Um, Again, I didn't want to price people out of the market, so I've actually done that for under a fiver, and I thought $5 that is. I know we're both in the UK. We're talking what, £3,
Yeah,
three,
about that.
yeah, $5, £3. Again, I'm thinking if people are starting and just dipping their toe in the water and don't want to take too much of a risk, I'm thinking that will allow them to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I also offer them the opportunity of making it completely hands off, where I even offer to set it up for them, put it
So
online.
for the $5 one, they just get the files and they have to put it online.
That's correct. Yeah, with the five, they have the complete sales funnel, but they then just have to upload it to their web hosting, their
Is that
space.
complicated?
It's not. I give a full step-by-step guide, illustrated guide. I also tell people that more than happy if they're going to do it themselves. If they've got any questions, I provide my email address. Drop me an email. I'll do my utmost, my best to answer them, to allow them to set it up. I would love for them to set it up, but I recognise people have got jobs. Sometimes they just haven't got the time, the knowledge, etc., and that they would just like someone to take it off their hands. We hear people who are cash rich and time poor.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you have to be cash rich to afford it.
No.
I'll be straight and say that the upsell, that the setup, $87. Again,
That's reasonable.
it's not a fat lot to have it all set up. And then all they need to do, or the person who is invested needs to do, is send that traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is a big shortcut for what they're trying to do, and hopefully fits into that ethos of trying to be as helpful as possible to those people on that first or second rung of the ladder.
Yeah, and it makes me think of the whole, give a man a fish story. You'll feed him for a day, so you give him a fish after you've offered to teach him to fish, which is kind of interesting. So you say, I'll teach you to fish, for free. Here's your 12 fishing lessons. But after you've said that, by the way, if you want a couple of fish just now, I'll do it for you. So that's
I like to see it as the rods. I'm offering the rods and the nets.
Uh-huh.
So I've taught them how to, and then I'm offering them the rods and the nets.
That's a better point,
And
actually, because the
the
fish is what they
setup
need to.
is me saying, well, okay, I'll actually sit down and catch you a few fish.
Yeah.
I like that analogy.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting. You could really dig into that, couldn't you? Like, I've taught you how to do it. So yeah, you've breaking up just a wee bit there. Are we back?
Yeah, I think we're back
that's
now.
fine. So yeah, that's a really good thing that you're doing. Giving people what you hoped that you would have had way back when you want somebody to explain it properly, and to help out. And on top of that, if they can't or they don't have time to do the things that you're teaching them to do, you can say, well, I'll give you one just now. Later down the line, you can make your own, no problem. But at least you've got the experience. You can see what it's like, and you can. What's it they say? Earn while you learn.
Absolutely. And I mean, and one of the things that I've done as well, or I suggest in the follow-up emails and in the guide, is that once they've invested, and they've either set it up or I've set it up for them, it's their funnel. Tweak it, adjust it. Yeah, so in the funnel, the one-time offer, the OTO, is one of my affiliate offers. And the reason I've done that is that anyone investing in the funnel will know that they will get approval because it's my offer, so that they know they can set up. There's going to be no delay with that. However, the point is, and what I try to stress in my follow-up emails and the setup guide, is that this funnel is now theirs. So if they want to change anything, if they want to change that OTO to another affiliate offer, to one of their offers, if they want to tweak the squeeze page, they want to amend the download page. All of this is possible. So I think it's this idea of it's much easier to edit or change something that's there. If
Yeah.
you've got an Aunt Sally, you can change it, you can adjust it, rather than being faced with a blank piece of paper.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, I'd much rather amend something that's already there than go to a blank piece of paper and think, oh my God, where do I start? What do I do?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, even if they get it set up, this idea of teaching a man to fish, even if they get it set up for them, it allows them to go in afterwards and tweak and at their own pace, knowing that they've got something set up, that they're building their list while they're still learning and bottoming out what they need to do and the technology behind it, etc.
Yeah, that's a really great thing that you've done. And of course, you can't really break it. That's the whole thing about this. Experimenting is fun, and I'm sure you'll be there at the end of an email if they do something wrong. Help, Andy! I've done something stupid. Help!
Absolutely, it'd be my pleasure. I have this. I really do enjoy helping other people. I don't want that to sound soppy, and I get an enjoyment out of it. So I'm getting something out of it as well. It's not totally altruistic. There is something in it for me. But yeah, I love the idea of being able to help other people.
At the end of the day, you've got mouths to feed as well, haven't you? So, as we all do, it would be nice to just be very happy and give free help to everybody. But at the end of the day, we all do have mouths to feed. So it's please don't be upset if we try and offer something for a bit of money. It's our time.
That's right, and that's why I say when I was offering this WSO or the classified offer, I was very upfront within the text itself, saying there are offers here.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to buy them. Great if you do. It provides me with the cash to feed the family, so to speak. But they're there. I'm not apologetic about them. I think they're great, but you don't have to go down there.
Yeah.
When we build a relationship, myself and the person coming onto the list, I'll be keeping in touch with them, which, as we said, is vitally important as a marketer, both to retain that relationship if you're not going for this churn and burn that we mentioned earlier, but also to get to offer them products and services that are going to help them, entertain them, interest them, and are going to bring in the cash for your business. Mm-hmm. And so, that's what I'm hoping down the line. Even if they don't invest with me now, they'll at least get the opportunity to get to know me, to know me as a marketer, to trust me, and therefore down the line they might think, yeah, Andy's got this new product out or this new service. I trust him. He's someone who I know. I'm going to invest.
That's good.
It's a long-term approach, I think.
Yeah, it's very good. So what else do you offer as a kind of done for you? I know you've got a few other things, including autoresponder email, something I know a lot of people, including myself, sometimes clam up at. What do I write to these people when they're on the list? What do I say?
Absolutely. As we said earlier, I think it's probably one of, and I haven't got any figures for this, it's probably one of the biggest mistakes that new marketers make. They've perhaps got this idea of building the list, and they start building the list, and then they do nothing with it. They don't send them the emails, whether it's because they don't know how, they feel embarrassed, they don't know how to write, perhaps they've never written emails before in their life or whatever. And again, I recognise this. I recognise myself going back years and how I struggled with that. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if someone could do that? It's something I feel quite comfortable with. It's coming from my background, I suppose. Over a period of time, I've got used to writing, etc. So it's something I've never felt particularly a problem with. And so I thought, well, if I could put them together and offer them to people for a reasonable, good value. For example, I know that if you're having an email outsourced, you could quite easily be paying $30, $40 per email, obviously depending where you go. and then you're not always sure whether you're going to get that sort of relationship feel, or whether it's going to be too hypey, too salesy, which turns people off. So what I did was I thought, right, let's do it, and I set up a membership scheme whereby people can get a month's worth of follow-up emails each and every month, and those emails are written. That I've written them as if I was going to send them out. They're very much a combination of entertainment, education, instruction. Some of them I've suggested affiliate offers that people could use, mine, other people's, etc. For the majority, though, I've left them completely wide open, so that I've told people perhaps that this is for some list building training, and then they can find the offer that they want and just pick that email and use it to promote that particular offer. There's a whole load of other stuff that I provide in there as bonuses, PLR, private label rights, resale rights material, training material, all of the stuff like that. But primarily I think it's those months worth of emails each month. And again, because I realise how important this is, and also that perhaps people don't know me, I've allowed people to trial this for a whole month for $1.
Oh, that's pretty good, yeah.
And if they think for whatever reason it's not worth the $1, I'll even refund that.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone who is investing in the stuff, the products, the services that I provide to be unhappy. I'd rather give them their money back and say, part ways, say, thank you, appreciate that for whatever reason this is not for you, all the best, and we'll part on good company. Yeah. But I've had far more people who have taken up the offer and really appreciated it, which is great.
Mm-hmm. And are the emails just copy and paste? I mean, or do they have to adapt it? Because I mean, obviously, if I was getting your email and put it up, I wouldn't want to be telling people that my daughter just graduated. I don't have one. I mean, is it that kind of thing, or? Right.
Okay. Well, first thing, let's have a look at that. Yes, you can just copy and paste. I deliberately within there don't go into, although I try to make them personal. They're personal in a very sort of generic way. Mm-hmm. About favourite films or books or things like that. I don't mention, because as you quite rightly say, I've got a son and daughter. Not everyone's got a son and daughter, so no, there are no obvious things that relate to me. So that's the first thing. People can just copy and paste. However, I do recommend to everybody, whether it's with these or the swipe mails that you sometimes get with affiliate products, is to tweak them a little bit. Well, as little or as much as you want, perhaps just to personalize it a little bit. Bring a bit of your personality. I think firstly this will help build that relationship with your list, but also I think, again, going back to that teach a man to fish, that the more people do that, the more they will become comfortable with the process of writing their own emails, and therefore there will come a time where they say, well, okay, Andy, what you've provided with me so far has been fantastic, thank you very much, but you know what, because I've had that, and because I've had that opportunity to tweak what's there, do you know what, I feel comfortable now in writing my own. And so I'm going to now stop my membership. Mm-hmm. And in a perverse sort of way, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I might be losing out on ongoing income, but brilliant. I've taken someone from not wanting to write emails to a point where they are. Mm-hmm. And again, there comes that sort of pleasure I get in seeing other people get on.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. I know the time's pushing on a bit, so I'll put links to your offers so that if people want to have a look at them, that they can do so under the video as usual. But I have a kind of standard final question, and I like to ask people, and it's, suppose somebody has just come online, they've done a search for Make Money Online, and the very first thing that they've seen is this interview. What would you like to say to them?
Wow. Well, I'd like to say, well, welcome to the party. It's fantastic fun. There's a lot of information out there. Don't get taken in by everything you read on the internet, whether that be in internet marketing or in life. Have a look what's around there. Sign up to people's lists. Find out the people that you like, the ones that relate to you. It might be the likes of David, it might be the likes of myself, it may be somebody else, but find the people that relate to you, the people that speak to you, and listen to look at what they do. How are they making their cash? You know, what are they doing? How have they become successful? And then go with that. The other thing I would say is, as great as this opportunity is, it's not, you know, the pavements may be paved with gold, but you have to do a lot of work to actually get there. So don't think it's easy, but it's not simple. You know, you have to put some effort in. Go in with that attitude, and you'll do fine. If I can help you do that, I would love to. You know, we've got these. Apparently, David's going to put the links below, and that's brilliant. Have a look at those. Have a look at my my blog. You know, I'd love to have you on board. I'd love to be able to help you. But you know what? If you don't relate to this short, bold English guy, fine. You know, I won't take offence. You know, but find someone you can trust out there.
Yeah.
And then listen to what they have to say.
That's a big one, isn't it? Everyone says the same. Get a mentor, and yeah, it's a very good one. So thanks for that. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Not really. As I say, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, David. I've really enjoyed today. The time has gone really quickly. As I say,
Definitely.
Time flies when you're enjoying yourself.
Yep.
And if anyone wants to contact me, wants to ask any questions about anything that I've said today in this interview, then my contact details are all over my material. You know, I don't try and hide away. I'm here. Drop me a mail. I'd love to hear from you. I will do my best. I always do my best to respond in the best way I can.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that about you. Well, again, it's been my pleasure speaking to you, and I hope everybody enjoys the interview. I know we lost connection a couple of times, but hopefully that doesn't make any difference. Actually, the blurring suits you, but it takes away the light from reflecting off your head. It's kind of...
I was going to say, I look better when it's blurred. It's my
smooths
best
it out
look.
a wee bit. Yeah, so, but thanks very much for being on the show and for telling everybody about your services and how to build their own business. So there's a lot of good content there. And I hate people that just, you know, it's just a pitch. It's not. You've provided a lot of good information, so I appreciate that. Okay, so thanks very much, and we'll speak again soon.